1 Samuel chapter 1. We are in our series called Love Stories. And yes, this is a relationship series. And we are looking at relationships in the Bible, but we are not looking at them in the normal way. This is not just all about the feel-good love stories. And we've got a phone call coming in. It's okay. I'm always curious if God's actually calling during the miracle service, we should answer that phone call. So if it says God on there, please answer it and put it on speaker for all of us. I'm so glad that God does speak to us through His Word. And so that's what we're going to look at today. With this love story series, there are some things that we have looked at that are unique relationships. Some that were not good. We start out Mother's Day looking at Ahab and Jezebel. I've heard a few comments about that one. Don't worry, Father's Day is coming up, and I've got a doozy for that one as well. But we've also looked at some, last week we looked at Abraham and Sarah and their ups and downs when love is just not enough to go through some of the things that they were going through, and their love needed something more. Well, today we're actually going to talk about what love cannot do. There are some things love, human love, relationships were never meant to do for us. Yet, in our culture, in our world, we think love is the answer. Matter of fact, there are songs and movies and books that love is the answer. All you need is love. Yeah, okay. We'll just let you sit on that one. But imagine, okay, I do want you to do this. I want you to imagine the person that you love the most. The person that you would do anything for. If they're here, you could go ahead and take a glance over at them and say, oh, you are... Okay, just go ahead and look next to you, because some of you may need to just act like the person next to you is the one you love the most, okay? Just go ahead and look next to it. That's the person you love the most. No, we think that we would do anything for them. And I read some crazy stories of what people will do for love. And, moving across the world for someone they've never met but just talked to, pen pal, maybe a phone call. They've moved across the world for them. Some that have, given up careers to be with the one that they love. That's always, crazy. Then there's those that go to the extreme, like we'll commit crimes for the ones that we love, or we will cover up crimes for the ones that we love. There is a saying, what's that? Post bail. That would be the extent that I think, although I'm pretty sure my wife said no, she would not post bail for me for some of this stuff I would do. But we have these stories of grandeur, of things that people would do for love. And when we think about the person we do love the most, we don't ever want to see them hurting. We don't ever want to see them in a place where they are suffering, and we would trade places with them so that we would take on that pain, that suffering for them, because we love them in that way. And sometimes we wish that we could carry the physical burden. If you've ever had a loved one who has gone through physical pain, some ailment, some maybe even disease that just beats at them and wears them down, the loved ones always wish we could carry that for them so we could be strong for them. But we can't. We were never meant to be able to take that on. We wish we could, but we can't. What you can do is show up every day for them. Show them how much you do love them. Say all the right things. You can be there with if the one you love likes flowers, give them flowers. If they like chocolate, give them chocolate. You give them what they like, to let them know that they are loved, yet the pain sometimes still remains. The suffering still continues on. Because love was never meant to take away those things, but to help us get through them. That's when we realize that my love for the person that I care for the most cannot fix everything. It's not a failure on your part. It's not even a failure on love's part. It is just the realization that love has a limit. And it is never meant to do everything for us. So today's Bible story, 1 Samuel chapter 1, we're going to read of a couple who lived in this exact situation. And their story reveals something about love, but more importantly, it reveals something about God, and it reveals something about us. So let's read 1 Samuel chapter 1. And if any of you know all these names, you can go ahead and read it for us. No, I'm joking. We are going to skip some of those, though, because I did not practice them. We're just going to go down to where it says his name was Elkanah. Elkanah was the son of Jeroboam, the son of Elihu. See, I told you I didn't practice these names. The son of Tohu, the son of Zeraph, an Ephraimite. And Elkanah, he had two wives. The first was named Hannah. The second was named Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah was childless. Verse 3, this man would go up from his town every year to worship and to sacrifice to the Lord of the armies at Shiloh, where Eli's two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, were the Lord's priests. Whenever Elkanah offered a sacrifice, he always gave portions of the meat to his wife Peninnah and to her sons and daughters, but he gave a double portion to Hannah, for he loved her, even though the Lord had kept her from conceiving. Her rival would taunt her severely and provoke her because the Lord had kept Hannah from conceiving, and year after year, when she went up to the Lord's house, her rival taunted her in this way, and Hannah would weep and would not eat. Hannah, why are you crying? Her husband would ask. Why won't you eat? Why are you so troubled? Am I not better to you than 10 sons? It's interesting. 1 Samuel is in the historical books of the Old Testament. And we can read a lot of these other books, and we start off with usually some declaration, some major prophet coming up, some king taking over, some battle that would be won. And yet 1 Samuel doesn't start with any of those. It starts with a couple. A couple that were living out in the countryside. Pretty low key, almost anonymous type of couple. Elkanah is of the tribe of the Levites. He is a priest, but he was more like a country priest. Little country chapel pastor probably. And he's out there, and his wife, he has two wives. That was a whole different time, a whole different culture. Don't take that as that's what we should be doing, because no, that causes problems. But he has a wife that he loves. The Bible says that he loved her dearly. He has this wife that is aching. She's suffering. She's hurting because she cannot have children. And so, while they are living in their family situation, and it is extremely dysfunctional. If you did not catch it in here, there was some rivalry, there was some hatred between the two wives. The one taunting and tormenting and punishing the other one. And so this is a deeply dysfunctional thing, but here's where historical setting does matter. We already said it was a different time. And this was the time of the judges. It was also a time of deep spiritual darkness in the land. We can tell, if you know some of the Bible stories, the two priests that are named in here as Eli's sons, they were wicked men. They were evil. They did not honor and worship God. They did not lead people to worship God. Instead, they were out for themselves. They were selfish. They were self-promoting. They were in it to get rich in their ways. And so this is an evil time, and more chaotically, we see that not just these priests, but there are lots of priests in the tribe of Levi that were corrupt. And God just seems to be silent throughout all this time. Yet, 1 Samuel opens with this couple. It's interesting to me that out of all this, we could start seeing that God, maybe he would speak some word to some prophet. Maybe he would declare some judgment. Maybe he would send a judge into the land to say, how dare you, and start worshiping God again. He's done that many times over. But yet this one starts with just this couple and their family situation. And so as we look specifically at Hannah and Elkanah, who wanted to have children, who wanted to have a family, who wanted to honor God in this way, they're struggling. They're suffering. Specifically Hannah. And Elkanah's love for Hannah is real and it's extravagant. If he was your husband, if Elkanah was your husband, like, could you imagine? He's giving double portion. He's giving honor to where in that society, if you did not have children, you were not honored as a woman. You were recognized as possibly being cursed or the lowest of lows, but yet this husband says, no, you are valued, you are loved. You are my beloved. And he gives a double portion. He goes out of his way to demonstrate that he loves her, but yet love does not take away her pain and suffering. We have this phrase that says, love conquers all, right? Love conquers all. This expression actually comes from a Latin phrase around 38 BC. 38 before Christ, 38 years before Christ, this phrase, love conquers all, is out there. And again, we have countless songs and books, TV shows, movies that are based on this exact idea that love can conquer all things. No matter what your situation is, no matter what your trouble is, no matter what the distance, no matter what the barrier, love conquers all. Yet when we read this story, love seemed to not, it can't fix this. Love can't deal with this. And there are some things that love just cannot fix. No matter how deep, no matter how genuine that love is, love cannot fix everything. Excuse me. So even the best relationships experience problems. The spouse who deeply loves and faithfully, yet I still hear them come in and they're getting a divorce. The parent who did everything right but still watches a child walk away. Still watches their child suffer. The friend who was there for an addict but yet still watches them give into that addiction over and over again. Even the deepest of love has limits, and it's not a failure. But today I want to ask you, What do we do when love can't fix everything? What do we do when love can't do something? And in this passage, we see several things that love can't do. And the first one is love cannot remove the pain. Love cannot remove the hurt, the suffering that's going on. No matter how much Elkanah wants to step in and wants to love Hannah so much that she doesn't have to worry about this. His phrase, "Am I not better than 10 sons?" is very telling, because he wants to take away that pain. He wants to carry that burden. He says, "I will be enough for you." But yet love can't remove the pain. The pain and hurt that is clearly there. There's no doubt that Elkanah loves Hannah. There's no doubt that he even asks the right questions. Probably even, and I know this is really strange to hear, that a husband may actually do this right, that he has the right tone. And yet, it's not enough to take away the pain. The Bible says the Lord kept her from conceiving. Twice it says in our passage that love was not enough for her. That love could not take away that pain. The issue was not a relationship thing. It had nothing to do with the love between the husband and wife. This was an issue that was a God thing. God was doing something here that the human love, the relationship, was never meant to fix. It was not going to be the answer. This was something that God was doing. And there are things that in this room you might be carrying that on the surface level you would think that a love from a friend, a love from a spouse, a love from a family member might help you get over these things. But when we look at the list, there are things that you are carrying like depression and grief and chronic illness. Maybe the loss of a dream that you once had that you seem to have also lost your soul with, your purpose. Those are the things that the people around you, no matter how much they love you, cannot fix. They can't take it away. Their love is real, but so is the limitations. That love cannot remove the pain. And both of these things can be true at the same time. They deeply love you, but they cannot fix you. So love cannot remove pain. Also, we see here that love cannot change the circumstances. Love can't change the circumstances. Again, Elkanah says, "Am I not better than 10 sons?" Trust me, if he could give her children, he would. I'm sure he wanted to. They tried, but yet it did not matter how much they kept trying, how many different ways they tried to solve the problem, yet it did not change the circumstances. And Elkanah's question here is one of the most honest questions in this story. Am I not better than 10 sons? Can't I be enough for you? Even with that question, though, he shows that he did not fully understand the pain that she was going through, the circumstances, the issue that was troubling her so much. As much as he tried to listen and tried to help, he missed the mark on this one. His love was trying to speak the right language. Have you ever read Dr. Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages? I've thought about writing an additional chapter, The Love Language of Sarcasm, but Somehow it doesn't get approved. I don't understand why. Maybe you could help me out with that sometime. No? Yeah. Well, Elkanah's love is speaking the right words, saying the right things, but it's not fixing what God can only fix. It's never meant to fix that situation. It can't change the circumstances. The human love that we are talking about, the love of a spouse, the love of a parent, the love of a friend, has limitations. There are some things that it just cannot do, including changing the circumstances that we go through. The difficult times, the heartaches, the issues that we try to figure out, but we have no answer for. We can love a person through those times, but we cannot change what they're going through. And it would be foolish of us, actually it'd be harmful of us to try to take away those circumstances. Especially as we see here in this story, God is doing something bigger than Elkanah or Hannah have in mind. What they think is going on is not what's really happening. God is doing something bigger. Something that will change not only the course of their lives, but it will change the course of a nation. It will change the course of what God is doing in the world, because God is the one who is in control of all situations, of all circumstances. That's why David in Psalms 23 writes, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I'm sorry, if I was writing that psalm, I'd be like, even though I walk in the daylight and the sunshine on the golf course, right? With the nice cool breeze right at the right time. Even though I walk through, no, he says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that's a deep, dark place. And Hannah is going through that. She knows the darkness that she feels, and she wants to change. Elkanah wants to do something to change her situation, to change her circumstances, but he can't. No matter how much he loves her. So love cannot remove the pain that we are suffering. Love cannot change the circumstances that we are going through. Love cannot heal the heart. Verse 8 from the English Standard Version says this. He asks the question, why is your heart sad? Why are you so troubled? Why are you so down? Why is this such a problem for you? Why are you so sad? Why is your heart sad here? And again, we would think that love, if love could do anything, love could heal a heart, right? I mean, that makes sense in our minds. Love should be able to heal our hearts. The heart is where the seat of emotion is, where we feel the deepest things. Love should be the thing that can step in and fix all that. But yet, human love, the love of a friend, the love of a spouse, the love of a parent, cannot fix a broken heart. It often takes more than just affection to repair the deepest wounds we have suffered. Especially since a lot of unresolved trauma and a lot of grief comes from some people that we love the most, or who are supposed to love us the most, is where we feel the deepest hurts. I found this quote. It was actually out of a fictional book, a story, but this line was written, and it is powerful. It says, love can't cure a broken heart, but it can hold the two sides together while they heal. Our human love cannot fix the problem, but we can be there to hold someone while they're going through it. While they are going through the healing process, we can hold them close. We can show them how much we love them. We can talk about this. Elkanah loves Hannah deeply. But again, he cannot heal what is broken. And some wounds, some trauma is just too deep for another human being's love to reach those spots, those hurts. So this brings me to our last point. And this is where it all changes in the story. Love can't replace God. See, Hannah, deeply hurt, verse 10 says that deeply hurt, Hannah prayed to the Lord and wept with many tears. Making a vow, she pleaded with the Lord, Lord of armies, if you will take notice of your servant's afflictions. Remember and not forget me, and give your servant a son. Hannah goes through this and she comes to the point. It said year after year she would go up to the temple and she would not eat. She would fast. She would go to the prayer room and cry out to God. And we see that, but then we get to verse 10 to where it finally got to the point where she was deeply hurt enough that she cried out and wept with those tears and said, God, you're the only one that can fix this. You're the only one who can help me in this situation. God, we've tried everything. We've done what we know to do. I know that my husband loves me. But his love can't fix this, can't take away the pain, can't solve the problem. God, we need you in this situation. She got to the point to where she cried out. And the amazing point here is that even before she had the answer, if you continue to read, that while she was praying, Eli, the priest, saw this and said, man, she's crazy. I mean, a lot of guys think that when they see a woman just weeping and crying. And it says that she was talking, but no words were coming out. So she was moving her mouth. And so, of course, like if you see someone like that, you're like, maybe something's a little off here. He thought that she was drunk. She's like, no, I haven't touched wine. But my heart is breaking. I've been pouring my heart out before God. And so Eli responds, go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you the request that you have made of him. He didn't know what it was, but he said, may God answer your prayers. And so she got up, and it says that she went along her way, and she ate, and no longer looked despondent or depressed. She changed her whole appearance by just believing that God was the answer. By believing that God was going to solve this problem. What love could not fix, what love could not take away, God was the one that she turned to. And God was the one who answered. Even before she knew that she was pregnant, God restored her joy. God restored her purpose. God gave her life again. Because when human love can't do something, God can. I love it over and over again in Scripture. We see this. People often will respond, what is impossible for God? What is impossible for God to do in your life? What impossible task, what impossible situation, what impossible pain are you carrying that you seem to think that no one else can help you with? What's impossible for God? Hannah turned to God and said, God, I need you to deal with this. See, our human love, the love of a spouse, the love of a parent, the love of a friend, they are a gift to us in this lifetime. They help us with many things, but it is never designed to take the place of God. It is never designed. So some of you have been holding on to this idea that if you believe, if you love better, if you love more, you can help fix things that have been broken, that have been taken from you. If I just know how to love that person better or more, I can fix my marriage. If I could just love and care for and show that love to the child or to my grandchild, I can restore the relationship. If I go and I can love that friend better, they won't go down that path anymore. We hold on to this idea that our love is what can fix these things, but it can't. Only God can. So stop carrying the guilt that you've been holding on to, that you failed somehow because you don't love somebody enough to fix them. Your love can't fix anybody. It never was meant to. God is the only one who can fix us. God is the only one who can heal us. God is the only one who can make us whole again, just like he did with Hannah. Some of you might be looking for someone else's love to help you. You've been holding on to this, that I need someone to walk alongside of me that loves me, and they don't have the courage to do what is right. If I had the right kind of love, I can accomplish this, or I can see this happening in my life. But you have replaced God with a human love, and it will never work. It will never work. So turn to God instead of turning to the person next to you, or looking for someone to step into your life to fix your problems. Stop looking at human answers and start turning to God. Get to the point that Hannah was at that said, God, you're the only one who can fix this, and I'm crying out to you. Hannah was bold enough to bring her pain to the altar, to bring her hurt. She didn't need a priest. She didn't need a husband. She didn't need a friend. What she needed was God. And that's all that we can offer you today. With your pain, with your hurt, with your wounds, with whatever you've been carrying, I can't offer you the human answers. I could do my best. I've got some. I can tell you what psychology says, what counseling tools say, but I could tell you this. The more I learn about all those, these are the things that only God can do in someone's life. And so all we can do is offer you the altar, so you can bring your issues, your concerns, your hurts to God, and let God fix what only God can do.